What is going on, guys? Jason Burke here, Styles Clash for Life, coming at you on YouTube, and today I've got another edition of The Drive-In, where I watch recently released films and tell you guys whether they're worth watching, worth waiting for, or worth skipping altogether. Today I'm talking about one that I didn't know existed until about 2 months ago. Just happened to catch it on paid YouTube. It's available right now on Prime and YouTube and all those Fandango at Home and all those home streaming apps for about $7. And I saw the lead person in the cast and I saw the trailer, Jessica Rothe, and I figured it's time to talk about Affection. This came out in late 2025 in festivals, debuted officially for the masses in 2026. So it is a 2026 sci-fi horror film. I'll do this spoiler-free and try and talk around the spoiler points because it just dropped on streaming stuff and has not hit an official service yet. So I will keep it spoiler-free. This film is written and directed by BT Meza. This is their directing debut, written, directed, produced, first film from them ever, as far as IMDb goes, so I have no idea whom they are. But it stars Jessica Rothe as Ellie, Joseph Cross as Bruce, and Juliana Lane as Alice. And you guys know Jessica Rothe from the Happy Death Day series. She is becoming quite the horror comedy icon. And this one is a horror sci-fi crossover film that basically, spoiler-free, what I can say about it is that Ellie wakes up and thinks she's somebody else. She doesn't really know where she is or who she is or what's going on, and she cannot remember anything from her current life, but she has memories of somebody else's life. And her husband is saying that she was in a really fatal car accident or near fatal car accident that made her have selective amnesia and kind of have memory transplants and things like that to make her think she is somebody else. And throughout the movie, you've got to figure out, is Jessica Roth's character crazy, or is she going through this illness, or is the husband lying, or is there some kind of overarching thing happening here? And it's really hard to cover this one without spoiling anything because you kind of figure out pretty quickly what's going on, and that's going to play into my rating here later. But the first thing I will say, positive-wise, is Rothe. Jessica Rothe is phenomenal in this movie. She gets to show more of a consistently serious side in this movie than she does in things like Happy Death Day. While she is both a good horror scream queen and a good comedy queen in Happy Death Day, she plays a more serious character here. She has to do more vocal work, more facial work. She has to put herself in a pretty dark position and play some layers to this character. There's kind of different versions of her mentally that come up, and things happen later in the film where she's playing different versions of this character, and she does a really strong job. She is far and away the best part of this movie. She's why I watched it, and because of her, I'm glad I watched it. Ellie is a good character and has some good layers to her, and even though she is kind of one note by herself, Rothe brings a lot of things to the character to make it better than it is, tonally, vocally, physically. She just has a lot of good body movements, a lot of good beats, a lot of good facial recognition. Rothe is great. Acting overall was a positive 2. I really did enjoy Joseph Cross as Bruce and Juliana Lane as Alice as well. They both are strong. They're just not as strong as Jessica Rothe is. Rothe is so good she steals the show in the acting department here, but the other actors are good too. The chemistry and the family bond is solid, and the play between Juliana Lane, Alice's character, the daughter character, and Jessica Roth's character is really strong too. They don't really fully dive into it in the way that I would like, but the moments between Alice and Ellie are pretty strong and give you reason to want to watch more of them together. So that's a positive 2. Hot start. They start off with a scene that's in the trailer right away, and you're seeing a lot of potential gore and a really cool looking night shoot, and you're seeing characters in peril right away, and it catches you strong. When you have a horror movie, you want to catch the audience's attention, and you want to start with something really pivotal, but you don't want to give away the ending of the movie or just use the final frames of the film like a lot of filmmakers go to. A lot of directors and editors get very lazy when it comes to showing the best stuff first because they have nothing better to show, and when you get there, the trip is not as fun and the ending is spoiled. In this case, it is not. I love the hot start this film uses. Visual effects, very strong. For a sci-fi film that relies on some science things and some creation type things for their plot, you have to have good visual effects, good practical effects when you show them, and they're pretty strong here. They're not always 100% consistent, but I would say 90% of the time they're very strong. There's some, I want to say, things that remind you of kind of Alien here. You'll look online and you'll see some different things about this movie. comparing to different sci-fi films. And there are things that remind me of the film Alien on here. And if you guys have watched my channel, you probably are a fan of those movies. And the visual effects are pretty strong in that sense. So when they do computer-based things, they do body-based things, they do a little bit of gore, those things are done very strongly. They're a high point of the film. On to some negatives. So predictable. You know when you watch this trailer exactly what it's going to be. I watched the trailer once, stopped it in the middle, made my prediction, finished the trailer, stuck to my prediction, read some comments. They had the same predictions, and they all wound up being right. And not only is it that you predict the movie, but you almost predict beat for beat what it is and why it is. There's so, like, not only is it kind of predictable, but not even just the ending, but getting to the path, the beats they take, the moves they take, it's all predictable. There's not even parts that throw you off. I can deal with predictable if it's really fun getting there and they subvert your expectations and make a few twists and then add a couple of things to the obvious thing and make it more fun so you can kind of forget the fact that it's predictable. In this case, it is beat for beat predictable. The plot overall, the writing of the story did not engage me in the least, and it's a subject that I like. It's a subject matter and a cast that I could really get into, and it's a story that I want to see more of, but written in a different way that's less predictable, has better beats, and has less obvious ways for all of the characters to go. There's only like one thing in this movie that I was like, oh, that's kind of sad, but even that thing was kind of seen a mile away. They telegraphed a lot of things, both with the writing and with the trailer. And I would say if you're going to watch this, don't even watch the trailer, because while it doesn't necessarily give too much away, it gives a lot away, and it kind of spoils some plot points. Convoluted. There's some character decisions toward the end that you're like, they didn't have to make that decision. Or they really went with the obvious choice there, or they didn't take this into consideration when they made this choice, or why was this so easy, or why was this so obvious? They made a lot of convoluted choices, leaps in logic. I just didn't like the character decision making in the second half of this movie at all. And finally, Roth's characters. While I mentioned earlier that Roth plays a character that's kind of one note and then she takes it and makes it better, and then the layers they add to her is done well because of her, the characters themselves that are written amongst her and kind of what she's going through, they get in each other's way. Again, I'm trying not to spoil anything. I don't want to tell you exactly what I mean by characters getting in each other's way, but the layers to Roth have to coexist within each other, and they're written in a way that can't do so. And it just becomes kind of a really silly thing. If I can make one analogy that's hopefully not going to spoil too much, it reminds me of Cult of Chucky in all the worst ways, in ways that take a serious scenario and make it feel comedic because of the way it's done, in a way that is unintentionally comedic and takes away from the stakes of the movie. And that's what's done here. So overall, really good idea for a story, really good cast, super strong visual effects, and a super strong lead who carries the movie. But that's not enough for me to get over the convolution of it and the very obvious story beats and the writing that spoils everything. So I'm going to give this one a 5 out of 10. It's worth a watch. It's not terrible by any means, but it's very obvious and very plotting to get there. I'm going to say 5 out of 10, very average movie, but still worth watching if you like Jessica Rothe. So go check this one out. It's on Amazon Prime for $7, YouTube for $7. Fandango at home for $7. I'd say it's worth checking out, especially if you like Roth or you like sci-fi. Those are some good points. Tell me in the comments down below if you've seen it. If you haven't, did you like the review and what'd you think of it? When you do watch it, come back and let's talk about it. And tell me in the comments as well what kind of stuff you want to see me review in the future. Please like, share, and subscribe to these movie deep dives, and I will see you guys real soon. Stay scared and take care. Happy summer, guys.